A national consultation hosted to draft new agricultural policy for the next 4 years. The opposition blamed for lack of innovation by acting Prime Minister Austri, and the Cabinet of Dominica looking at possible options to address heavy sea blasts in Marigot. Thanks for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Stay with us for the details of the headline stories and more coming up right after the break.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Agriculture hosted a one-day national consultation on Tuesday in order to draft a new public policy towards agriculture for the period 2014 to 2018. Discussions were held under the theme Creating a Platform for Food and Nutrition Security, Competitiveness and Sustainability. Consultations were held in collaboration with the Office of the National Authorizing Officer, NAO, and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture, ICA. Several agriculture officials and other stakeholders, especially farmers, formed part of the team who met at the Garaway Hotel to put plans together. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Eisenhower Douglas, is hoping that the new policy will be complete by April 2014 and subsequently approved by Cabinet for implementation.
This consultation really, is a means to an end. Okay, they're not end in itself. The end, of course, is to put that policy together and to get the policy approved in Cabinet. We hope that that can occur sometime around Easter. That would be, if we can do that, and we don't see any reason why that actually can't be done. And of course, beyond that now, we have the policy now coming into the new fiscal year. As you know, the fiscal year begins July 1 every year. That's the government fiscal year. So therefore, if we have that approved by Cabinet, then we have it to inform our programs and projects going forward. Because that is the purpose of any policy anyway. I like to use the term that a policy comes alive when it starts to be used to inform programs and projects on the ground.
In his discourse regarding the background and purpose of the consultation, Douglas emphasized the importance of the contribution of stakeholders in order to ensure that the policy is relevant. P.S. Douglas also pointed out that at the heart of the Ministry of Agriculture, and hence the consultation, is the work of the farmer and his ability to boost production.
Notwithstanding the role that we play in the Ministry of Agriculture, the director, myself, all the senior officials in the Ministry of Agriculture, that at the end of the day is the farmers that actually engage in production, okay? And production is crucial, is the name of the game. And of course, production, when you get into production, you have issues of productivity, issues of yield per acre, issues of competitiveness. All these things are core. And so I'm saying that if you think of a vehicle and you think of the pistons, you think of the cooling system, the radiator and so on. These are crucial to any vehicle, the battery and so on. I'm saying that we need to start there at the farm. How do we get production to be much higher than it is?
One of the main objectives of the consultation was to bring forward the approach of the Ministry of Agriculture in the formulation of a national agriculture policy and to solicit feedback from stakeholders. Another objective is to reach a consensus on the core elements of an agriculture policy for Dominica. This initiative forms part of government's growth and social protection strategy aimed primarily at poverty reduction. Economist Luce, in her remarks regarding agriculture policy in the context of national development, noted that although there has been an average decline in agriculture over the past 10 to 12 years, Agriculture has remained one of the main contributors to GDP in Dominica. During the course of the day, participants worked in groups to review the existing agriculture policy framework with a view to reconfiguring agriculture in Dominica. This policy is expected to be in place by the new fiscal year, July 1st, 2014.
In more news, Acting Prime Minister Honorable Reginald Austrie is describing as unfortunate the inability of the opposition United Workers' Party to come up with innovative ideas to grow Dominica's economy. Honorable Austrie says this is evidenced by the fact that the opposition's suggestion for economic growth is a carbon copy of ideas by the ruling Dominica Labour Party government. Austrie's comments come as the United Workers' Party embarks on a campaign tour in New York and other U.S. states proposing plans to the diaspora to take Dominica to economic prosperity.
It struck me in Dr. Thompson Fontaine's contribution that one of the pillars of the economic agenda for Dominica is the making available of special mortgage facilities for homeowners in diaspora. And I think that came straight from the Dominican Labour Party's book because, as you know, for the last 5 years, we have been doing that. You can recall that we made $5 million available to the Government Housing Loans Board at 4% interest rate, when mortgage interest rates at that time was somewhere like 9, 10, 11%. We also made some $4 million available to the Aid Bank at 5% to lower-level public officers and people within the statutory corporations. And just recently, we made another $5 million available to the Aid Bank for a lending for mortgage. So there's nothing new and there's nothing creative about that measure announced by Dr. Fontaine, re the economic growth agenda.
The acting Prime Minister says most, if not all, of the suggestions coming from the United Workers' Party are already being implemented by the current DLP administration.
As we continue to listen to some of these wild pronouncements being made by the United Workers' Party in the quest to form the government of this country, we'll continue to dissect their proposals and to show you where 90% of the proposals being made have already been implemented by the Dominican Labour Party. And if you go through manifestos of 2005 and 2009, you will see that the exact same proposals that we have made for economic development of Dominica, these are what the United Workers' Party in 2014 is saying to the people of Dominica. So that just shows the dishonesty, the lack of vision, the lack of foresight, and the laziness of this United Workers' Party, both the old one and this new one.
The Dominica United Workers' Party team began its 7-city tour of North America on Friday last with a series of meetings in the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C. Meetings were also held in New York, Brooklyn, and New Jersey.
In more news, the Cabinet of Dominica is in the process of looking at possible options to address heavy sea blasts in Marigot, which has been affecting vehicles using the main road. Agriculture Minister Honorable Matthew Walter addressed this concern when he met with farmers of the Northeast Agricultural Region earlier this week.
This matter has been discussed by Cabinet, and Cabinet are looking at options. We have asked the Ministry of Public Works to present to Cabinet 3 possible options to mitigate against what is really happening. All right, so as soon as further discussions have taken place, and a policy, has been accepted by Cabinet as to a way forward to respond to that problems, that you will get to know.
During the minister's meeting with the farmers of the Northeast on Monday, he also assured them that government will seek to rehabilitate 14 feeder roads in that part of the country, using EU funds by the first quarter of this year.
President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Sovereign, has written to Archbishop Kelvin Felix on his appointment by Pope Francis as Cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church. In his letter dated January 13, 2014, President Sovereign stated that news of the appointment of Archbishop Felix as Cardinal has brought us incredible joy. President Sovereign told Archbishop Felix that his elevation as Cardinal is a wonderful gift to the province of Castries to the entire region and especially to all Dominicans. He said, and I quote, "As the first cardinal to be appointed from within the ranks of the Antilles Episcopal Conference, AEC, your appointment signifies the recognition the AEC has gained in the eyes of His Holiness. It will surely serve to inspire and motivate the clergy in our region, led by their bishops and archbishops, to work even harder in caring for the flock of Jesus Christ." He continued, and I quote, "The importance of this cannot be overemphasized, since we live at a time when a creeping materialism and secularism are slowly eroding biblical values and fostering disrespect for the dignity of the human person and institutions of society." End of quote. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit believes that the appointment of Archbishop Felix is in recognition of his exceptional contribution to the church and his leadership in the Diocese of Castries over so many years, and his knowledge of the workings of the Catholic Church, knowledge of the faith. The Prime Minister said that the appointment of Archbishop Felix as Cardinal is an inspiration for Dominicans. He said, and I quote, "For us as Dominicans, it is also a very important reference point that someone who could come from a very small village in Dominica and not from a well-to-do family has been able, through his own scholarly work, his own dedication to hard work, his commitment to this job, and to his faith, that over the years, as a result of these things and other things, he has been promoted from time to time within the framework of the Catholic Church." The Prime Minister added that for Catholics in Dominica, Catholics in the Caribbean, and indeed Latin America and the Americas, it is a real joy, it is a real day of joy for all of us as Catholics and the citizenry as a whole. He said, "I really want to congratulate him and to say to him that we shall continue to pray for him as he prayed for all of us and to celebrate his appointment." Archbishop Felix will officially be ordained cardinal at the ceremony in Rome on February 22nd, 2014. His Excellency Dr. Nicholas Liverpool, former President of Dominica, will represent the government of Dominica at that ceremony.
In its quest to evenly distribute revenue generated from cruise ship passengers, tourism officials here have been marketing the entire island as having unique tourist sites. Director of Tourism Colin Piper, in an interview with GIS News on Monday, said while it may appear that tourist activity may be centralized in the capital city of Roseau, efforts have been ongoing to engage cruise lines to consider berthing at the Cabrit's cruise ship berth. He says due to the size of the berth in Portsmouth, huge cruise ships known to dock at the Roseau and Woodbridge Bay ports are unable to dock there. Notwithstanding that, however, he says there has been discussions for smaller ships to dock at Portsmouth.
There are things that can happen in Portsmouth, and when we go to the trade shows, we push all three tours. We go with a list of all the activities that can be done in Dominica, whether in the south, in the east, in the west, in the north, and let the cruise ships know what they can have access to. Now, the north is limited by the size of the cruise ship berth, and so there are only vessels of a particular size that can get there. So you're not going to see the big 3,000 ship vessels go there because the port may not be able to handle that. But certainly we do encourage all vessels to consider the Cabrit's as well.
Piper says visitor sites in Portsmouth are unique and would equally attract the type of tourist who visit sites within the Roseau area.
We have 3 cruise ship berths for, and we are one of the only CARICOM nations that has a cruise ship berth in a national park, that being the Cabrit's. And so it makes sense to take advantage of that. And not only that, Portsmouth is where Dr. Lennox Sunny Church is domiciled, and he being an eminent historian, that is in fact a tour that can be utilized and would come out with high marks. Also, we have the Indian River, that is a key and then also there's just the scenic tours around the north.
On Monday this week, 4 cruise ships were berthed in Roseau.
Agriculture Minister Honorable Matthew Walters says the government of Dominica will continue to invest in mechanisms to fight against diseases such as the black sigatoka and the citrus greening disease currently plaguing agricultural crops on the island. The minister spoke to the issue when he addressed a group of farmers in the northeastern agricultural region earlier this week.
I am very, very sympathetic to you all in relation to the problems that you are faced in the agricultural sector. The agricultural sector is saddled with a lot of problems. We have black sigatoka. I look at a plantain field a while ago. It's your plantain field, my friend. You need to deleaf it, all right? And it's plagued with black sigatoka. Okay, black sigatoka also requires a huge amount of financial resources to be able to contain and to manage it. Okay, it's not easy, my friends. It is not easy. Okay, and not only in bananas and in plantains, but in citrus fruits. All right, it's plagued with many diseases, and we have to be able to invest a lot of resources to fight against those things.
The Agriculture Minister appealed to farmers whose fields are affected by the black sigatoka to be more responsible in their on-farm and off-farm practices to help the ministry in curbing the spread of the dreadful disease.
We have a situation where farmers themselves, my friend, are messing up the situation, making it worse. They are the one transporting the disease from one place to the other. We have been talking to them ever so often to understand the situation, how black sigatoka and all the other agriculturally related diseases are spread. And still yet, they don't take advice. They don't pay heed. And they continue, transferring trash from one place to another. They do not, adhere to the cultural practices. I'm certain that the extension offices in the respective districts are holding workshops, seminars, to educate the farmers. But farmers are just hard-headed. They just do not take scientific advice.
The minister has appealed to farmers to adopt a more business-like approach towards agriculture.
The situation with agriculture around the world is not a Vicky-Vi thing again. It's not haphazard. It's a business, it's a science. So when those extension officers come to you and advise you, I'm appealing to you to take the advice. They know better than you. They have gone to school. They know the response measures that have to be taken. So all what you have to do is just take it on board and practice it so that you will be able to see your benefits in what you are doing in agriculture.
The minister ended his remarks by stating government's continued commitment to moving the agriculture industry forward.
And finally, the nation's Minister for Tourism, Honorable Ian Douglas, has issued, as he puts it, a challenge for Dominica's Carnival Queens to form an association from which they can collaborate on issues. Honorable Douglas, speaking at the launching of the Mass Dominic 2014, first publicly commended reigning Carnival Queen Les Rasa Armour Shillingford for what he calls outstanding performances at regional and international levels. The minister went on to address past Carnival Queens to create a platform from which they can continue to work on various existing issues.
I put out a challenge that after your last walk on the stage on the night of the Queen Show, it must not stop there. We must find roles for our queens to continue to contribute to social activities on a lower level and national campaigns on a higher level. And I think now it's time that we should consider some kind of Carnival Queen Association.
Honorable Douglas further details his reasons for the challenge.
What happens to the first runner-up, the second runner-up, the other queen contestants who have not been crowned queen because we can only crown one girl. We need to find a way to continue to engage you all throughout the year, even though one person can be queen. And that is a challenge that I send out to all of us to find ways to challenge and to engage our girls.
The carnival calendar of events will complement the theme for this year, New Connaught Viv. And that's it for the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ce nouvel en créole. Non moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Dominicain l'autre pays connaît bien clair record gouvernement là. Parole là sorti de acting Premier Ministre Honorable Reginald Ostring, sinon vie parole négative hors opposition qui yo ka simé l'autre pays pendant tout ayo en l'Amérique.
Moun qui l'autre pays, yo savent donc le gouvernement ça c'est un gouvernement qui sérieux. Nous ka joindre aussi nous toujours, tous les jours, toutes les fois, nous partis nous ka joindre Dominicain am l'autre pays ka dit yo ça yo ka fait. Et là yo vini Dominique, yo ka dit ça yo ka tan as radio opposition. Et ben là yo vini, ça yo ka voir ces bagages qui différent. Comme ça moi ka dit yo allé à Londres, yo allé Canada, yo allé Amérique, yo allé Hollande, Spain, mais ça pas qui fait pièce différence en effort là que le gouvernement ça a fait pour ranger Dominique. Et moi j'ai toute confiance que là nous courir encore pour yo ba nous un plus gros mandat pour gouverner pays là, yo que ba nous ça sans doute.
En autre nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique assisté moun sous le pays qui était bien affecté si l'on mauvais délige l'année passée. Parole cela sorti du Parlement Rose Sud, Honorable Ambrose George.
Nous déjà ces enfants qui étaient affectés avec Trofsa had pour délivrer à l'école ces livres-là avec bagaille pour vivre à l'école, souliers, ces school bag, avec tout ça yo perdu. Nous déjà bayo ces enfants pour dériver à l'école. Nous aussi commencé avec peut-être fini par semaine ça payer pour ces gens là qui fait nettoyer ces chimères ces dalles là avec bagaille la moun taper flood etc. avec so paiement pour ces gens ça c'est même ça déjà commencé. Nous aussi déjà commencé ba mon paiement pour ça yo ped en flood là. Furniture, radio, appliances avec toutes ces qualités de ça. So nous déjà fait ça avec nous maintenant semaine ça c'est moun là qui servent truck avec équipement pour aider clean up là pour nettoyer ces places là qui affectées. Paiement pour ces moun ça qui commencé semaine ça.
Gouvernement Dominique tape l'argent pour bâtir miroir en Dibic. Parole celle-là sorti du Parlement Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow pendant une visite pour l'occasion la lundi.
Un projet comme Ministry World Bank Project PPCR, nous avons alloqué 12 millions de dollars pour adresser à Cliff Dibic là. C'est les gens qui vivent en partant salaire, nous sommes la réduite, ça dit comment l'école nous marche. Ka descend à passer en bas la falaise de Bic, mais que nous est Atlantic Ocean là sur le côté avec l'autre côté c'est go en falaise là. So finalement nous taper 12 millions de dollars avec nous espérer que 12 millions ça que nous commencer il pas que faire tout projet là mais nous commencer adresser problème de Bic là avec moun qui senti plus libre pour traverser chemin ça là.
Et puis finalement, travail progrès bien formidable à ces projets de l'eau en grand fond. Parole ça là sorti du Parlement Honorable Ivor Stevenson.
Nous avons fini un supply glow qui fondé par BNTF, Basically Trust Fund. Et puis Plainfield ça pas Plainfield c'est water supply ça là c'est ça y fini c'est un intake et puis on belle neuf intake et puis on tank on dam. C'est un gros dam en premier fois on fait taper un dam pour glow système yo. Et puis ça nous work tout de suite c'est pour ranger distribution system là pour qui y ait un glow système qui neuf. Ça c'est un BTM qu'on a créé pour nous enfants qui plaisir pour savoir yo actuellement un glow système yo ka dépendre.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour Nouvelle en Créole. Pour à présent, non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, your tip of the day.
Do you have uncovered water storage drums around your home? Do you dispose of old tires, cans and old containers capable of holding water anywhere in your environment? Are you being bitten by mosquitoes, particularly at dusk and early morning? Do you keep houseplants in water? Do you spend your hard-earned cash to control mosquitoes? Has your community experienced dengue fever outbreaks? If your answer is yes to at least 3 questions above, you are at risk to dengue fever. Join the fight against dengue fever. The responsibility for a dengue-free Dominica lies with you. So, get rid of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
Healthy eating is all about balance. You can enjoy your favorite foods even if they are high in calories, fat, or added sugars. The key is eating them only once in a while and balancing them out with healthier foods and more physical activity.
If you normally eat these foods every day, try eating them less often. Cut back to once a week or once a month. You'll be cutting your calories because you're not having the food as often. If your favorite higher calorie food is a chocolate bar, have a smaller size or only half a bar.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm.
Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel.
On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching and do remember to join us again tomorrow.